Hey dear friends, I'm Bibi and these gorgeous ladies here are Celeste Morgan and Astrid Sully. They are roommates, oh god they are roommates, and they are two of the new residents of Springvale. For those of you who are keeping up with my Sims 2 Legacy Challenge, you are all too familiar with that hood. As we're moving on with our legacy, I wanted to introduce some new faces in town. Today we're meeting a couple of them, you'll see the rest in the upcoming legacy episode, but our lovely goth ladies here have just moved into the old part of town, and the surroundings here are so charismatic and whimsical. We've got our legacy lot all the way over there on the hill, but we've got this tiny plot of land, and I felt like building a mini Victorian house for these girls to match their vibe, the area they're living in, and the current season. So we are starting out. This is not going to be an insanely detailed house, but I wanted to capture the vintage and creepy atmosphere with the funds that we have, although I gave them a slight boost of money for decorations and landscaping by the end. I was looking for inspiration online and I saw this image and I thought, yeah, I like this one. I like these general lines, this silhouette at least for the front facade of the building. So this is what we're going with here. I did some slight terraforming in the rear end of the plot because I wanted to place the house on a slightly taller foundation. So from the front, the house looks ever so slightly taller, and I think that in the end, the result looks really nice. Definitely looks more spacious than it actually is on the inside. We've got a very tight interior, you'll see that in a bit. I fiddled with the roof line for a while, couldn't get it as spiky as I would have wanted. The game limits the roof angle. Now that I'm thinking, I should probably check if there's a mod that bypasses that, the limitations of the roof angle. I've never considered this, there probably is one. But anyhow, I experimented a bit until it got to where I wanted it to be. I also went back and forth for quite a while, deciding which fence I wanted to use for the porch area. I wanted to use these Maxis fences that come with columns, but they didn't have matching non-column versions. Someone has probably made these without the columns, they're probably separated, but I didn't have them installed, so I settled for a different fence and stairs combo and added columns separately. I also had to turn off the hood decorations because all of the trees in the area and the buildings and whatnot were distracting me so much, and as I was spinning around I thought this is gonna be a bad viewer's experience. But hood deco is such an important part of creating atmosphere in the game, and I just can't play The Sims 2 without it anymore. Now, I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do with the exterior coloring of the building. Of course, it had to be dark, it had to be moody, it had to look like the house is a bit older. I added a fireplace because I wanted the chimney there, and I was trying to center it exactly to match with the triangle of that roof line. So I did a combination of siding and this paint with like the gilded edges or something. I initially gave the house this earthy exterior color, until the game decided to crash, as it always does because this is The Sims 2. So when I reloaded, I changed my mind and I went with dark green because nothing says Victorian home more than a fashionably poisonous arsenic wall. We've got some green in the interior too, so it's exactly very on brand. Anyhow, I showed you the reference for the front of the house, but the back, oof. The back is always the most difficult part of every build. If anyone here watches Hermitcraft, in particular Grian, you will understand what I mean. You'll know the pain of an excellent creator who is always struggling to build the back of a building. Now, I don't know how good of a builder I am, but it's always a pain in the behind to do the behind of a house. But anyhow, I improvised basically. I added a balcony and I like it. I like this result. I added some roof trims. These are from the bespoke build set. You know what it is. I always talk about it. I use it everywhere all the time. And now that I'm looking at it, I can see a few more options to make the building less flat in certain angles, but oh well, what's done is done. Tell me if you're a creative person of any kind. Do you experience this feeling of always overthinking things and thinking you can continue improving your work until infinity? Because as an artist, I actually have to force myself to just finish things, to stop chipping away at them. And I feel the same way about builds in The Sims 2 and when I create videos as well. It's always like, oh, this can be perfected. But then it's like, if I keep trying to reach perfection, I'll never ever release a video because perfection is, it doesn't exist. I don't know, I'm definitely my own worst critic and that can get in the way of finishing things. That's a huge weakness of mine, and it's also a huge act of rebellion against myself to say that a project is complete and show it to the world, because I can always see a billion things that can be changed. The inner critic is such a powerful voice. But anyways, here we are working on the interior. I went with a combination of some Maxis walls and floors. I especially like the ones I used in the kitchen. I pretty much don't think I've ever used these, and I'm really not even sure which pack they're from, but they look very worn and they have this just vintage vibe. I love it. It's just perfect. I love it. Deciding on the color scheme of the house wasn't that difficult. It's a bit dark, it's a bit gloomy, it's a bit worn and torn. That's the vibe we're going with here. I'm also happy I added a fireplace because just the chimney on the side adds so much more dimension to the build, and it's sort of the focal point of the very small sitting room that we have here. The kitchen was so small as well, I couldn't place a full stove, so I ended up placing this custom content stove that is like half its size, and then the counters over there were just sticking around, so I stacked a bunch of bushes to hide that part that was sticking out of the building. Oops, nobody can see that. I feel like I could have done the downstairs layout a bit differently. I don't think I used the space in an optimal way, but it's always fun to challenge myself with these things. I do get carried away while building, and for example, while decorating the kitchen, I forgot to add a fridge. Yes, I did. And I fixed this off camera, but yeah, this is what happens when I just get in the zone and I'm completely like just not thinking, I'm just building. When I get in the zone with building, weird things tend to happen sometimes, and I make goofy mistakes like that, but that's the best part of posting on YouTube, because you embarrass yourself in front of people and everyone gets to tell you how wrong you are. Just kidding, but I mean, let's be for real, some people really are like that. I can't complain though, you guys are always so kind, and I'm genuinely enjoying our small corner on the internet here. Speaking of which, thank you so much for 3,000 subs. This is crazy, okay? This is crazy to me. I can't believe this, and I feel so blessed and grateful. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me on this journey of loving and appreciating The Sims 2 in 2024 and beyond. I have always wanted to make YouTube videos, but to refer back to my little rant a minute ago about perfectionism and holding yourself back, I've just never felt ready. I've never felt good enough, frankly, and I could have started doing this 10 years ago if I had the confidence to do it, but I didn't. When I was still a silly young girl, and I would have probably said some weird, stupid things and overshared and gotten cancelled over a controversial opinion about a pre-made sim or something like that. But I needed to do a whole lot of growing up and inner healing and acceptance and being comfortable with not being perfect, not being flawless. So now I'm here, and so are you, and we're here together for this moment, and it's such a joy and such a privilege and such a unique experience. And I can't be more grateful that you believed in me when I randomly posted my first lot renovation nearly 10 months ago to a whole 0 subscribers. But now there's 3,000 of you. I can't believe this. I never expected this. I was like, I'm just gonna be posting into the void, and I'm gonna be saving these videos as an archive for what I've done in the game, just for myself. But now there's people watching, and I'm just, okay, hi, welcome. I think I've exhausted my emotional battery for a moment here, I'm sorry. Sometimes when I'm experiencing overwhelming feelings, I shut down a little bit. I hope that's okay, and I hope this build is okay. We've moved on to the second floor here, where you're seeing the bedrooms of Astrid and Celeste. What you've probably noticed is that I placed a couple of special objects in each room because yes, our 2 new Springvale residents are witches. I felt like autumn right before Halloween is the perfect time to introduce witches into our hood. Celeste is a green witch who is in touch with nature. She likes to proclaim herself a plant whisperer. She does tarot readings. Her favorite oracle deck is the Botanical Inspirations deck, so her room reflects her interests. It feels a bit more lively and welcoming than Astrid's room. I also went full in on the asbestos green here, but Celeste is a powerful witch, so I'm not too worried about her health. She knows all the herbal remedies to cure any illnesses. Jokes aside, I love a floral floral motif. I love houseplants, so I'm kind of projecting a little bit with the need to include some greenery in an otherwise naturemort looking house. Celeste has a slightly larger room than Astrid. Whenever I have two Sims like this, I always want to give them equal amounts of space in the house, but then when you think of it, it's really not uncommon when renting a space, for example, for people to live in differently sized rooms. I didn't add enough space for their cauldrons, but I'm considering adding a basement because a dank dungeon filled with potion fumes makes complete sense for this house and its current inhabitants. Now Astrid's room, on the other hand, is a bit tighter, and if you pay attention to her podium, she practices darker magic. She taps into the energies that others would be scared to delve into. However, Astrid is brave and bold. She's interested in necromancy, and the two girls, you can tell they're quite different. One communes with the forms of life, while the other taps into the world of what's beyond death. But nevertheless, they have bonded, and they're happily living together as the quote-unquote roommates that they are, just girls being girls. Astrid is into astrology, and her chart ruler is Pluto, the lord of death and the underworld. So all of this is just completely natural to her, and she feels very much in balance with the work she is doing. She's not out to hurt anyone, she's not an evil witch hexing Sims left, right, and center. She just transmutes and purifies energies others would be scared to touch. There's only one bathroom in this building, and it's really nothing special. Bathrooms are usually the most boring part of a build, to be honest. They're such an utilitarian space, just there to serve a purpose. Looking good is a bonus, so I won't be wasting your time with this portion of the build. Maybe someday in the future I'll go wild and make a video all about building fancy bathrooms. Who knows? That's not a bad idea. I just have too many ideas right now and not enough time for them all, unfortunately. We're lighting up the build with some Maxis lighting. Oh yes, we are. I've been trying to incorporate more of the native in-game objects, the vanilla objects. Custom content is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but I'm at a point where I want to completely, and I mean completely, redo my download folder, which, if you know, you know, this is insane. It will probably take the rest of my lifetime, no joke, but maybe that will be my life's purpose. There's plenty of CC in this build, but I'm pretty sure you can achieve this sort of look with just the in-game objects and just a few recolors, so that's the interior done, I believe. I also added some decorative gravestones in the backyard. These are a bit old-timey looking. Who knows who they belong to? Perhaps the original owners of this house, or someone who lived here generations ago. The names have long faded from the stone, so nobody knows. Maybe some of the oldest residents of Springvale could tell stories of who the original residents of this historical home were. Were they the founders of the town, or maybe their children, or settlers that came and left with only this house remaining as their only footprint that they were ever here, with an untold story for the witchy couple to discover through their magic? I don't know, but I just like coming up with stories like that while building. You guys know I'm currently working on a series about lore and story-driven gameplay with original characters. Springvale is exactly that type of hood, with the difference that we're not playing rotationally here, but instead we focus on the Visconti legacy. So through the eyes of the Viscontis, over several generations, we'll get to see how Springvale grows and transforms. Lots of newcomers will be moving into the town in the upcoming generation. Celeste and Astrid are just the first of the bunch who have made their way here to live in this haunted house. But for Astrid, a haunted house is her dream home, and for Celeste, living surrounded by old forests and greenery in such a unique historical town feels just right. So the two are very much at home here, they love it, they're very happy to be in Springvale, and I'm really excited for them to meet Lucia and the other members of the Visconti legacy during our Let's Play. But I think this is it for this build. These are the last finishing touches I'm adding here, and this is their finished house. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick build video. I hope you like this little house. I really like the result. It turned out very lovely. I feel like I achieved the atmosphere I wanted to, and I even creeped myself out a little bit while decorating the interior because I was like, oh my god, this place looks like it could actually be haunted. But we won't be actually playing with this house. I just wanted to build something fun here to bring more atmosphere and lore into Springvale. Stay tuned for the upcoming Legacy episode where we'll be meeting some other new members of Springvale because yes, there are more Sims moving in. Some new faces are coming in town and the Legacy is moving forward. I'm really excited for that and I hope I'll see you there as well. Let me know what you think about this build. Let me know what you think about the girlies. Oh, before I forget, there will be a download link if you want to download Astrid and Celeste and play with them in your game. They are up for grabs, so check out the description of my video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. Subscribe if you want to see more Sims 2 content like this, and I'll see you really soon with another video. Take care and bye for now.